guys just cannot control their emotions.
So I think the bigger story today is less about Luka, but did you see Dave McMenamin's story about Deandre Ayton?
Tell me more. No. The answer is no. I haven't seen it.
All right. So Dave has a story out this morning that came out at 7 a.m. About the Lakers situation and the loss to the Orlando Magic. And it talks about Deandre Ayton playing well in that game. And in the story, the biggest takeaway is that Ayton was allegedly heard on the way to the locker room after the loss to the Lakers saying out loud, "They're trying to make me Clint Capela. I'm not no Clint Capela." Now, here's what I would say, and this was part of the problem I had with him coming in, is that he's not going to want to play a role. And Clint Capela is exactly what the Lakers need, okay? Like in his prime, not now. Clint Capela's old. But like Clint Capela defends the rim, rebounded as well as anyone in the sport, okay? Defended at a high level, and then finished at the basket strong, okay? And defended the perimeter well, like exactly what you would want from a modern center. The problem with DeAndre Ayton is he doesn't want to be that. He wants to be, I don't know, I think he thinks he's Joel Embiid. And it's like, bro, you're not that. Like, you're not that. So he's in this story, that's the biggest takeaway. And it's one of these things that when you think about the way the Lakers needed guys to buy in, okay? They made some bets, and this is a big bet. And you could say it's not a big bet because it was an $8 million bet, but it is a big bet because when you're paying three guys $100+ million, you need to hit on all those other smaller contracts. And his is one of the larger ones of the smaller contracts, okay? So because of that, you know, Marcus Smart, no issues with his effort. Just not the same player he used to be. But by the way, still a very competent defender. And I would say a high-level defender still. And, you know, he hit some shots and timely shots and whatnot. But I have zero issues with Marcus Smart and the addition of Marcus Smart. But DeAndre Ayton coming out and now saying he's no Clint Capela, dude, that's exactly what they needed you to be. And you're not willing to do it because you literally just don't get it.
You know what's funny about that, though, George? I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit differently, like, oh, wow, he actually has some emotion. Oh, wow, he actually cares. But the only thing it seems that makes Ayton play decently, and it was the first half, really. I mean, I didn't think he was so spectacular in the second half, but he did play well in the first half against Orlando, especially when he scored 17 points and Austin Reeves had none. And in the following, the second half, I think, Ayton had maybe 4 or 5 points, and Austin Reeves kind of exploded. At least there's some emotion in there. At least there's a little bit of anger in there. That was something I was questioning. Like, does he care at all?
Dude, let me tell you something. You can't be the $8 million guy that has an attitude, okay? You can't be especially when you just got bought out, okay? Well, you can't be the $8 million guy who is high maintenance. Like, that's not what is going to work for you moving forward. Like, that is absolutely a terrible, terrible plan if that's what he's doing now. And it's not going to help him here, and they has no choice but to play him, but it's certainly not going to help him moving forward. Like, you can't – one thing, like, you expect the star players in any sport to be, quote-unquote, high maintenance, right? Mm-hmm. That's just part of it. Luka, LeBron, hell, even Austin, if he was high maintenance. I don't know if he is. I don't believe so, but let's just say he was, right? Who cares? That's what you expect. He's one of the biggest contributors on the team, okay? Same thing for the quarterback. Same thing for the, whatever. Like, whatever position you want to talk about in any sport. You can't be the $8 million role player, even if you were a former number one pick, to be the guy who is high maintenance. Like, do you think Michael Thompson was high maintenance with the Lakers when he was backing up Kareem? The answer to that is no.
Go ahead. I'm going to guess not, but your point is made on me, and here's the thing.
But no, wait. Let me add this.
Yeah.
So in this story McMenamin has, they asked Marcus Smart, who was also a free agent, right? Whose locker is literally next to DeAndre Ayton's, and asked about his, about DeAndre, right? And he says, I think he's done okay. He definitely could be better. We all could, But I think I love about it is he understands and he's working at it. We're all trying to figure it out. This is new to everybody. He's doing his best, but he understands it's another notch that we need him to go to, and we're going to try to get him there and help with that. But he knows he's got to do his part as well. That's as good a job as you can do of towing the line of saying, dude, get with it. I'm not going to rip you publicly, but I'm not going to sugarcoat necessarily either. People are going to be able to read between the lines. That's a great job by a veteran there of doing as good a job as he could towing the line on a guy who's been way too high maintenance for a guy who's one step away from potentially being out of the league.
Yeah, and by the way, that quote that Dave McMenamin put in that story was something that we actually talked about just a little bit earlier in the week when JJ had the quote in the LA Times, which was that he gave about 20% effort. And everybody seems to be walking around on eggshells around this guy because they're trying to get the best from him, and it just seems like he doesn't have the kind of personality where you can give him some tough love and he would snap out of it.
No, it's actually the opposite. Everybody in Phoenix would tell you that.
Yeah, that's the point. Everybody's walking on eggshells around this guy because nobody wants to just tell him the God's honest truth, which is, bro, with your size and your background and you're being the number one overall pick and all these other things, you should be significantly better. But here's the problem. You know what Deandre Ayton would say if you told him that, George? He'd say, yeah, well, get me the ball. You see, and therein lies the problem, is that you can't be a diva or high maintenance when you're only the $8 million guy, and you can't be those things when you're supposed to be a role player on a team that has a lot of offensive weapons. He doesn't want to play his role, which is why he played so poorly against Boston, and JJ aired him out for only giving 20%. So what did they do in the first half against Orlando? They tried to make him happy. How'd they do that? Gave him the ball. The only way to make him happy and productive is to give him the ball. The problem is, on this team, he shouldn't have the ball. And he doesn't like that.
You know, Dave McMenamin has this Deandre Ayton story, which I don't know if you got a chance to read all of it, but I did recently. And, you know, Austin Reeves, like we talked about Marcus Smart, like kind of towing the line on like, yeah, he's got to do better, but, you know, we need him and he's trying and you know, that kind of stuff. You know, Austin Reeves is like shouting him out like, yo, man, that guy changes our ceiling. Like they're doing everything they can to cater to this guy.
Right.
And he's out there still bitching, you know, about like they're making me Clint Capela. And it really is just infuriating because he just doesn't get it, you know. And in Dave's story, there's I believe it's an Eastern Conference executive that says, look, man, as a number one pick, the guy's underachieved. But they know they need him. Like, if they are going to try to – I think if they're going to try to unlock that three-man lineup, I actually think Deandre Ayton needs to be a big part of it. And because he gives them an outlet, the three of them. But if his attitude's going to be like, oh, I'm not getting mine, you know, it's – especially after a game where he got a lot of opportunities, like – yeah, I get they lost, but it's like that's not the time to say they want to make you Clint Capela. If you want to say when you're, you know, in a game against Memphis when you only get 4 shots that they're making you Clint Capela, maybe I'd understand that a little more. I don't understand it after a 1-point loss to Orlando where you had a ton of touches.
This goes back to a comment earlier in the week from J.J. Redick. Now, this is the Monday after the beatdown by the Celtics on Sunday. And here's what J.J. said, and I'll quote. There was a clip last night or a play last night. Jaylen Brown goes to the floor. We've got a 5-on-4, and Ayton goes about 20% speed where it's clearly a man-down situation. So in terms of him running and putting pressure on the rim and offensive rebounding, particularly against switches and smaller players, he could be better there. I mean, here he is, really, JJ, airing out Deandre Ayton, and understandably so. But at the very end of it, he's got to kind of clean it up and not just completely destroy his ego by saying, but, you know, he could be a little bit better there. Not like he was awful. What a terrible job. You're giving me 20% out there. I mean, I need 120% from you. You're giving me 20%. It just seems like to try to get the best out of Deandre Ayton, you've got to walk on eggshells around this kid because everybody gets coached differently. Some guys can take it. You know, some guys can take that Mick Cronin yell, scream, you know, and other guys just crumble under that sort of pressure of a coach yelling at you. And it seems like Deandre Ayton's ego is so fragile that everybody is trying to get the best from him by just being really soft with him.
I've told this story before, and when Shaq got traded from the Lakers, I got a chance to sit down with him extensively.
Hey, Sedano.
Hey, Sedano,
what's up, Sedano? Where I go for some good Cuban coffee?
At that time, we remember there was plenty of friction with him and Kobe. So I asked him about his leadership style, and he said, look, my leadership style is what it is. I know I got to cater to different guys. And the example he used with me that day, which I use a lot still, is this. He's like, I knew with Nick Van Exel, when I had him, when I first got to the Lakers, that I could curse him out, and he would be better if I did that, right? He's like, I knew with Eddie Jones, I needed to kind of pat him on the ass a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And that's just to your point. Like, DeAndre Ayton needs a lot of pampering. And it's like, but they kind of are stuck because they know they kind of need him, and he kind of knows they need him, and he wants more, and it's like there's only so much more to give,
Is this a real part of the story? Hold on, Cappy, real fast. Sorry.
Yeah, hold on, Cappy.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me.
The great Bergman School of Content is talking.
Go ahead,
All right. This is in the story. It says members of the training staff wrap Ayton's water bottle in athletic tape and write DA's crunk juice. Drink this to unleash the beast in black marker on it before games. Is this like when in Space Jam with Michael's secret stuff?
That can't be real.
Did you say crunk juice?
How
do you spell crunk?
Crunk juice. CRUNK.
That's on the 11th floor here.
Okay, they got the crunk juice up there. Really? Here at Providence?
Crunk juice.
Yo, we're not here at the Starbucks.
Hey, Doc, where's the crunk juice?
Yo, you guys got that crunk juice? How about SK's crunk juice? Or CMM's crunk juice?
Well, there's not as much of that in it.
Yeah, no. And they got the non-alcoholic crunk juice.
Oh, I thought you meant something else.
No, different juice.
YouTube hour, it's okay.
Okay, right.
Well, he's not drinking, alcohol and crunk juice when he's getting ready for the game, right? Probably just some
no
Gatorade.
alcohol, but
Yeah,
unleash the beast.
Unleash that beast.
What a disaster.
I really hope someone asks him about that in like a post-game scenario.
I mean, George, I hate to admit when you're right because it really bothers me because I'm never right. But you were right about DeAndre Ayton. I was hopeful about DeAndre Ayton. I had that, that positive spin. He's going to come here. He's going to put on that Laker uniform. He's going to be around LeBron and Luka. He's going to get, motivated by the stage that he's playing on. He's going to be motivated by games being meaningful. And truth be told, no surprise. I was wrong.
Well, Sedano, it's a theme these days. Lakers Suns tonight. Coverage begins at 4:30 p.m. An early game. 6 o'clock tip-off in the desert. Coverage will begin at 4:30 with the Toyota Lakers countdown to tip-off with Beto Duran. Tip-off at 6 o'clock. Hear it on 7:10 a.m. terrestrially or in crystal clear digital audio on the all-new ESPN LA app. And then after the game, Lakers post-game show with Beto. And if it goes terribly wrong again tonight, post-game show is going to be lit again.
Oh, God. You see, the only reason that I would root for the Lakers to lose this game is for JJ's post-game. Because I will tell you that after losing the game to Orlando, I'm like, I'm sticking around for this post-game. But he didn't give me much. I think JJ has calmed down. He's taking his blood pressure.
I think he's on to you, Cappy. Cool. He's on to everyone.
Right. He's like, these guys actually think it's funny when I explode. Yes, we do.
Well, everybody listens.
By the way, this is how much they're catering to him. Forget about DA's crunk juice. Listen to this. Rob Pelinka, team president of basketball operations, okay? The POB.
PBO.
PBO. Yeah. Commissioned a black T-shirt with gold screen print depicting half of a lion's face and half of Ayton's face that he presented to the 27-year-old.
Yeah.
So
JJ
not just
says
that,
they
went and got a shirt for him.
I know. They're doing everything they can to play this emotional, inspirational game with a guy who just feels like he doesn't have the heart of a champion. He doesn't have the desire to win. Now, maybe I'm wrong, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, and if DeAndre Ayton's driving around right now going, who the hell are you? You don't know what's inside me. All I know is that when you got a team creating a T-shirt because your coach says, we need the lion. We need him to be the lion. They're making T-shirts for you. They're trying to get you hyped, man. They're trying to get you motivated.
They should
they
buy
don't
him
think
a
you
car
are.
or something, Like, what would you take to be motivated in that situation?
Crunk juice.
You need more than a T-shirt and some crunk juice, right?
I don't know. Crunk juice might get you fired up.
Like, yeah,
Maybe
give me
they
a
should
new
give
car.
him 200 milligrams of caffeine before a game.
There you go. Get him a little sponsorship
even-
with